Let's pick another song.
Why don't we do the other shoe?
Okay. Hang on. There it is.
All apologies if you expire during the duration of this song.
I swear to God, 2 o'clock this morning,
This song right here, when I think it was like the second song that I wrote lyrics to, and it honestly is like, it's something like, this record, because we're writing behind characters, so it's like really impersonal, but this song is the realest shit I ever wrote, like for me, because it's like just about how when everything in your life seems to be going right, there's something that shows up that goes really badly, and it's just about waiting for that moment to come and how that ruins your life.
This is what was going through my head this morning.
There you go.
This is also one of the least conventional song structures that we've worked with. This is a round, and in a way, it mimics your lyrics because you're kind of waiting for the song to start, and it's sort of pleasant at the beginning. There's these little echoey guitar harmonies and some echoey things, and then the song comes in and it's all over. The other shoe's officially dropped.
And in the storyline at this point, it's David's just fallen in love, and then has this moment where always, realizing that it's not going to last forever. And Veronica, too, at this point.
Like, this would be in danger of actually being a radio single.
I know, which would be ridiculous to hear on the radio. It would be pretty funny. My dream would be that when we do get to open for the Foo Fighters, people have heard this, and not that they're necessarily fans of the band, but they just want to sing along, and you get a whole stadium full of people chanting "We're Dying on the Inside." But it's not going to happen. But it'd be cool.
Well, you can hold your breath for that in the New York Fries coupons.
I can hold my breath for that. They're going to show up at the same time.
Okay, good enough?
Yeah.
All right, let's... Now, there's a companion piece that you released for Record Store Day called David's Town. Now, talk about that for a bit.
Well, I guess I'll start, and then you can take over, because
we'll do it together.
I talked... basically what happened, I was being interviewed by this guy I'm friends with, and he was like, so what do you guys have planned? And I'm like, well, I have this idea for this comp, because Owen Pallett did that Heartland record 2 years ago, and it came with like a bonus. He did a bonus 7-inch of songs that would have taken place in the story. I thought that was such a cool idea of adding like an extra dimension to this fake world you created. And Joan and I have always been talking about this idea of doing a fake Kill by Death comp, and Kill by Death is like a compilation series of incredibly expensive and rare punk records that this guy Johan Kugelberg started, and now it's been taken over. And there's like thousands of volumes for it. I strongly recommend, though, if you're a fan of old punk music, pick up volume 1 to 5. They're absolutely essential. They're amazing. Anyway, and so Joe and I have always joked about wanting to do our own fake Kill by Death comp of like fake punk bands where we could play and write everything, and that way you could write as a character and not be kind of held by standards or taste. My Old Man's a Ginger is a prime example of that, which I wrote as a joke, and now it's real, and I'm ashamed.
Well, I mean, it like you say, it's a way of getting really even deeper into the world of David Iliade and this town, and for everybody buying the records out there and consuming this story. I think this is a nice facet to have because it's a lot more lighthearted than necessarily trying to consume the whole narrative at once. And like Damien was saying as well, I think this idea is not exclusive to us. Every band at one point or another has probably decided that we ought to just write our own record of fake bands in different styles, and people will think they're great, but it's really just us. And they'll think that these bands are great, but they really just think we're great and we're the greatest. So it was a way of being a bit egotistical too, because we did about 11 songs in 11 different styles with 11 different production values, and made up these ridiculous backstories for these entire bands. It was just a fun project.
Yeah, and it was like, it came together so quickly because I joked about it, and then next thing I knew, it was a reality.
And also, it's a way as well of engaging with the era. And like we already talked about how important the late 70s was for DIY music, and that's something that we draw a great deal of inspiration from.
It was 7-inch after 7-inch after 7-inch.
Yeah, and we also wanted to pay tribute to the sort of the unknowns and the unsung bands out there of that era, those things that are sort of like next to the sun. If you think of 77 punk, the first thing on the tip of everybody's tongue is the Sex Pistols and the Clash and the Damned, and there were all these little tiny moons orbiting around them that made an impact in their little town.
Oh, Subway Sect.
Subway Sect, great example. Or the Seas, or okay, you go now.
Well, Sham 69.
No one can play.
Sham is
I should
big.
warn you that no one can play this game with Jonah, because Jonah has the most insane knowledge of obscure punk records.
We're gonna end up with a
in the
bottle
world,
of vodka and
like,
a revolver on the table
best-
in a few minutes.
The most indicative story about how deep Jonah's knowledge runs is 2 years ago at South by Southwest, Thurston Moore put together this like hardcore cover band called Demolished Thoughts, and they were going to play a show, and it was going to be, I can't remember her name, but she drums in Awesome Colors.
Allison.
Allison from Awesome Colors on drum. I thought it was Allison, but I didn't want to say it. And then on guitar, Don Fleming. On bass, Andrew WK. On second guitar, Jay Mascis. And on vocals, Thurston Moore. Well, the band had practiced, and Andrew WK had blown off both practices. And so Jay's like, I saw him, and he's like, I don't think Andrew's going to show up tomorrow. And I'm like, well, if he doesn't, my man Jonah could fill in on any instrument you got up on that stage and know the song's cold. He's like, it's a pretty deep set list. And I'm like, he'll know it. Anyway, next night comes around. Sure enough, no Andrew WK. So Jay comes up to me. Actually, Dave Sweetapple, who plays in Sweetapple and Witch with Jay, came up to me and being like, yo, can you introduce me to Jonah? And I'm like, yeah. And
I was standing in the audience, and this guy came on stage. I was actually there to see this band play. And he says, if Jonah from Fucked Up is in the audience, get your ass on stage right now. And I think I just raised my hand like, present, sir. And the next thing you know.
And Jonah knew the songs better than any of these band members. Certainly, Jay knew them really well, but
He knew him really well.
Thurston did not know them at all. And Jonah knew it cold. So I'm just saying, be forewarned, if we're going to play band for band with Jonah.
What did you play?
I played bass, and we played Gangrene, Snob, SOA Gonna Have to Fight. We played, what else did we play? Iron Cross, Fight 'Em All. We played SSD, Boiling Point, Negative Approach, Ready to Fight. A lot of fight songs in this set list now that I think about it, and a litany of others.
Yeah, okay, you win.
No, it's okay. I was good with Subway Sect. That's a great single. No one's scared. That's a great single.
It is.
But that's the point. These are these little things that literally dot the countryside.
I have all these compilations. Not a Kill by Death one. I think I may have that at home. But I've got all these huge, thick compilations with 6 and 8 and 10 CDs of all these super obscure punk bands, mostly from the UK and Scotland. With Spiz Energy, the Adverts, on and on and on. And they're famous for 2 songs.
Yeah.
That came out on 7 inches.
Well, that's the thing about the Kill by Death series is it is like remarkably well curated. The guy who did it, Johan Kuhleberg, he was the original A&R guy at Matador. And then he married some multimillionaire person and basically quit Matador to work at Def Jam. Rick Rubin hired him to work at Def Jam. And he's the reason that Thomas Jefferson Slave Apartments had a record on America, which is still, if you don't, Thomas Jefferson Slave Apartments on America Records with Johnny Cash. Weird. But anyway, then he just retired to collect records full time, and he curated. He's done a bunch of books, one on hip hop, and he's an incredibly intelligent guy, incredibly pretentious, but incredibly intelligent. And I've still never met him. One of my heroes, but I hate him, but I want to meet him. But anyway, he curates his comp so well, and I think he is like, for myself, like so responsible for the through these comps informing my taste in music.
Let's play something else. One more from the album.
I'm going to say, let's play The Recursive Girl.
It's always so hard to remember the real titles of this song because we have fake titles, like working titles. What was Recursive Girl's one?
Ben's song.
Ben's song.
You know what? This is like the least anecdotal out of any song, except I know that Sandy didn't really like the intro to this song. She thought it was too sappy.
Yeah, I have nothing to say about the song either, John. I don't know why you picked it.
Let's just, it'll speak for itself. Okay, you got a request for the next one. Okay, wait. Okay, that was good.
Does someone want to hear, if anyone wants to hear us talk about a song.
We were talking about Underdogs a second ago. That's an Underdog jam. it's gonna be on the like this band was famous, but here's the song that didn't cut it compilation.
Well, you're so conceited. This band will be famous.
I meant
It's not going to happen.
humble and respectful.
I'm just teasing. Jonah is the one of the most insane, committed to working out people in this world. He used to be quite chubby, so I resent the shit out of him.
Always
so
a good
just to
working
establish this
relationship.
weird interplay you're seeing back and forth, I resent him for his discipline, and I think it's pathetic and weak.
You gave away 4 songs for free from this album before it came out.
Yeah. It was like, I got to say, like, and I can say this because I had no part in this at all, but the way that, you know, I was excited for this record and I was involved in making it because I just think that the people like, you know, Mike and you know, Sandy and Josh, who were in charge of the graphics and things like that, and you know, the people, you know, who directed the movie and people that did all and released the songs, like I was like, whoa, I'm really anticipating this, and I was like, oh, it's just fucked up. Like I thought it was gonna be someone else. No, I'm just kidding.
How are you going to handle this album in a live setting?
That's gonna be different, but I think we'll handle it the same way we handle every record live, which is that you almost treat it like you're doing an adaptation of the song. You know, like there's no way we're gonna be able, like Jonah's not gonna be able to do those 2 drum interlocking drum things
unless
live
we get a second person.
unless we get a second drummer.
The point is always just to pepper the set with these songs, and we added a 3rd guitar player in 2008, so we could be more versatile playing the musical part of these songs live. And you know, the shows are always going to be the same. It's going to be loud. It's going to be crazy. But you just have to put them in the set, completely exterior to the narrative aspect of this play.
Well, you know what's going to happen in 7 or 8 years.
What's that?
You're going to be called back to do David Comes to Life in its entirety live.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we'll beat anybody to the punch on that, whether they want to or not.
We've done 2 other complete album shows for the other 2 records, and they're really fun. Like one we did as a benefit for Spock, which is a great organization that works with sex workers right across Canada, and the other one we did for money for ourselves, I think, for Chemistry of Common Life, and Andrew WK came and played with us.
But you know, it's like writing an exam. You never have to. The thing about putting these songs in the set is that rarely do you have to think about these records as a whole when you perform them live. You only have to think of them as little stations that go with the rest of the work you've done, also little stations. And so when you do have to recollect your thoughts and put them all in the same place again, you are put exactly in the place you were when you were writing them. And playing them back to back is quite daunting. You can't get the same relaxed headspace that you do when you have a normal set, because one thing flows into the other and it doesn't have to connect in the same way. So when the full record happens, it's actually a bit more difficult to do that than it is to play a normal set.
One more song.
Sandy requested Life in Paper.
Sandy requested that? I thought it was an audience request. I'm like, come on, your request. Oh, choose a plant.
Yeah. This one starts. The beginning of this song, what you're hearing right now, is kind of the muscle tissue of the whole record. This joins every song, almost every song on the record, and it's supposed to be sort of, it's almost this place setting. It's almost like the lights come up and you see Birdsdale, and that sort of is representative of connective tissue. And this song itself is kind of it's another oddly structured song. It's sort of a march that turns into a stadium rock song.
And this song's about questioning everything. You know, it's about, like, who can I trust?
Well, it's a crucial point in the story, really.
It is a crucial point in the story. It's like, because I think at the core of the story is about, you know, ultimately it's probably going to be about love, but I think there's also trust is another major theme throughout it, and sort of not just trusting in people, but trusting in an afterlife, trusting in the humanity of your fellow man, trusting in the love that other people have for you. So trust is like a central theme throughout the series.
And who can you trust?
Who can you trust indeed? And also 7 Seconds song, Trust, is probably my second favorite 7 Seconds song.
Mine's We're Gonna Fight.
That's your second favorite?
No, that's my first favorite.
Okay. What's your second?
That's it.
My number one's Committed for Life.
Okay.
That's boring.
You guys
never thought you'd be sitting here watching 2 guys discuss their favorite 7 Second songs on.
I don't think I ever thought
Tuesday
I'd be discussing 7 Seconds.
I kind of thought I'd discuss them again.
Next question.
Next question.
How was your gallery opening this morning?
It went well.
It was very low key last night. Is that what you mean by this morning? 12:01 a.m.
12:01 a.m. Yeah.
12:01 a.m. was an absolute zoo. People lined up. I didn't think it was going to happen, but they lined up to the end of the block and they filed in, drank all our beer, bought all our records, and went home very quickly. We decided that we wanted to do something 12 to 4 a.m. Mistake. But the public answered our prayers and went home at about 1:15, and so did we.
Yeah, I got home and some guy was tweeting at me like, "I'm at your store and you're not here." It's like we should have said like, "Oh, 4 o'clock maybe." Like,
apparently there were, count them, 6 disappointed fans that came between 1:32 and 4 a.m. I can't imagine the last person who came there looking for David Comes to Life.
they must have been so drunk.
Oh yeah.
So that was the other thing.
Closing time on a Tuesday.
Yeah, like any time after 2:30 in the morning that you have a store that's open. What? You also had crazy people coming in today.
Well,
too.
2:30 in the morning on a Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different kind of drunk. It's not a Saturday night drunk. It's a committed drunk.
That's a committed. This afternoon was really relaxed, and there was sort of a steady flow of people, and the store was empty for the most part. But again, committed to record shopping. When we did have a few people come in who were a little too kissed by the sun and maybe by Bull Max or something else like that, and they didn't appreciate the record covers on the wall and the whole idea of the shop. But they left. They said that they spoke their piece and went home, and everybody else walked out with records.
You can't be in a band called Fucked Up and not be in favor of freedom of speech.
So what's next? I guess we got North by Northeast.
North by Northeast, touring the East Coast of the U.S. and some shows in Canada, and then touring the West Coast of the U.S. with some. I think we're playing Vancouver on that run.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're flying to Europe and doing some festivals, doing some shows with the Foo Fighters. And I think that takes us to September, and that's kind of where we're at. We're playing with the Cro-Mags in New York, which I'm pretty stoked about. Dinosaur Jr. This is awesome. On our next tour, we're playing a show with off Dinosaur Jr., but the best thing about it is Jay Mascis is going to be doing what we're doing now, but by Henry Rollins. And if I can picture a more disturbing, I cannot imagine a more awkward interview. I cannot. Like, Jay is the best dude in the world, hilarious, and Henry's really nice too, like nothing against him, but two very different styles of communication at play. And I can't wait to watch. I, for one, am expecting greatness.
One final question about the record. What do we take home from it? What's the moral?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to ever. I don't know if I could give a moral. Like I could give you, the I think that's a really cool thing about the way the band works is because Mike writes some of the lyrics. On this record, Mike wrote the lion's share of the lyrics, and I wrote the other 25% or whatever. And because of that, I don't think you can ever get one consistent story. And so because of that, I don't think you ever get one consistent moral. I think Mike and I also have kind of slightly different moral compasses, as everyone does. Like nothing against either one of us, but like as everyone does. And because of that, I think we have two different takes. My take is that, just keep living, like Matthew McConaughey says, just keep living. Is, kind of the thing I think David, that's what that's what life is, it's like trying to survive and make yourself, make the world a better place without hurting someone else. So I think that's like the meaning of life. And I think, and the sadness and the horribleness is there to balance out the good. And that's, that's at least what I hopefully take away from it.
I would think that that's an excellent summation and totally, and for once you're not giving or I'm not giving the more wordy answer than you, although I'm up in the word count right now.
Let's see this.
The answer to that question is play it on repeat. And then that's how you know.
Now that this record, now that you've taken...
That is cryptic as hell. Sorry. No, that's it. Play it on repeat. That's the answer.
Now that you've gone from the sweaty hardcore band playing in basements and issuing cassettes...
You still have sweat issues.
And we still will play a basement. Believe me, we are not above playing a basement. If someone came to us and was like, I've got this great basement thing, we will play a basement. That is not a thing. And we still put cassettes up.
To the Polaris Prize.
Yeah.
To this concept album. What's next?
I don't know. I kind of think the band's going to change. Like, I think there's going to be like a real metamorphosis in the band.
It's hard to... We've become a maximalist band in the sense that we love to pile things on top of each other, including whether it's music or concepts. So I think maybe you can expect us to recede a little bit, and maybe we'll put out like a minimal synth record next or something like
Yeah,
that.
like I think we got to do something different. Like that's the thing about once you get your rock opera concept record out there, you can't dial it back. You can't really go, no, this is just a normal record. So you got to find something else to do. So I think it's going to be just like I think it's going to change. It's also going to be a long time before we have to address how we're going to approach the next LP, because it's going to be about 2 years probably, because that's how it's been so far, 2 years between records.
Well, it's a terrific record.
Thank
I
you.
wish you very well in your tours, and I wish you great success in taking whatever this is to whatever level you can take it to.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and thank you for speaking with us.
Yeah, thank you. I'm a huge fan.
We've all been listening to
Even though we
your
know each
shows.
other and we've talked before, but the ongoing history of new music is one of my favorites.
Oh, thanks.
Hey.
Appreciate it.
And thank you guys for coming.
Hey, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Hope you enjoyed this. If you haven't bought the record already, buy it and put it on repeat. Thanks for coming tonight.
That's the answer.
ExploreMusic wears English Laundry apparel.